Venus Castleberg as she teleports you to the wonderland of possibilities, where we explore consciousness from the inside out to create a different world, where problems are possibilities and your point of view really does create your reality.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wonderland of Possibilities, where anything is possible and magic is real. I am Venus Castleberg, of course, and I am truly honored to have our very special guest today. She's very near and dear to my heart. Cry. Just really somebody for me who's always had my back. I've always felt like she was there no matter what. So Becky Venez is also a certified facilitator of access consciousness and a Joy of Business certified facilitator. And she's just, for me, she's an inspiration walking in everything that she chooses. Truly, from we had her on a podcast a while back where she was just the yes gal, and I took that to heart, and I really applied it to my life, and I've created some very interesting things being a yes to everything. Most things worked out great, but every once in a while it was like, well, that didn't work out that great, but I'm still a yes. So what do you learn from being willing to say yes? And that inspired me to change my life. And now we have Becky Venez here again for something completely different. Welcome, Becky.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was amazing.
Oh.
Really. Yeah.
So Becky, I saw you. We were at the castle in Italy a year ago. Mm-hmm. And something between then and now really shifted for you. And I'm just wondering, what was that? What happened? What changed for you?
Well, that's so interesting that you brought up the castle. And we're like, what castle? What are you talking about? Well, Castle di Bagorne. This might be saying that incorrect. My Italian is not wonderful. We met up there. There was a class that we both were attending. And the funny thing about that whole amazing trip was I lost my luggage for like my whole trip. And when I showed up there, I had, and it's out of the way. There's not really a place like a Walmart to go shopping just to grab new stuff or anything. And Venus was so kind because I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I have nothing. Like, you don't have a brush, a toothbrush, like all of these things. And Venus was so kind to say yes to like whatever, like whatever I needed. That really changed so much for me in my life. One, the experience of having somebody be so kind to when I had nothing, to say whatever I have, it's yours, was wonderful. Because one, you don't go around in life much asking for help. Maybe you think you do, but until you have nothing and you're like, what am I going to do? Now, granted, it wasn't like I was in a desert island or anything with, nothing but like palm trees and coconuts. And you think, well, what do you mean? But it was such a quick trip, and I was actually working, so I didn't have time to just go and do all these different things. And I was like, you know what? I am going to enjoy this. Like, I'm going to make this the best of whatever in the moment, And it was an epic trip. I learned to be vulnerable so much, of to be asking for help and being willing to show up however I was showing up that day. Because you usually, like I have clothes that I wear, it's different things that you dress as when you work or not work, just whatever. And I just relaxed into like, this is who I am today. This is Venus's dress, so that was an epic thing just to start with having the most amazing time ever when things aren't quite how you expected them to be.
Right. Well, I love that too, because I've actually recently I was on a call even with Simone when Simone asked for help or contribution.
Mhm.
And it really was such a gift to see, like, when we're willing to be that vulnerable, when we're willing to really put ourselves out there and be like, hey, I could use some help here or contribution, or, and um yeah, to me, it was such a gift that you would ask. So I was reciprocating the gift of you asking me for, contribution. It was just it's amazing when we ask what's available for everybody. So
Yeah. Yeah. And like, how much can we enjoy every moment, no matter what?
Mhm,
And that is one of the tools that I actually really, really try to practice, no matter where you're at, no matter what's happening. It might not always be easy. It might not be fun. That particular trip, I was stranded the day and I had to stay at the airport in Frankfurt, maybe. I don't know. There's so many different crazy things that happened. And at one moment I was really getting frazzled and I just stopped and I was like, wait a minute, I'm in Germany. Like,
right.
wow, and like this might not have been planned. It might not be the best situation, but like, wow, I'm in
Mhm,
Germany. Wow. And that really helped me really get like everything doesn't always have to be sunshine, rainbows, and, to be perfect, to actually be present in the moment and enjoy.
mhm,
And when you actually take that moment, you can enjoy. And
mhm,
really, what we kind of were talking about even before this is that all kind of led up to one of these big moments again in my life where I was like, because this is kind of maybe in June-ish or April maybe, and then in September, what came around for me was like, hey, I'm going to be 50 in November. So
mhm,
in last November, I turned 50, and I was like, wow, how would I like to show up? How would I like to, show up as in 50? And maybe it's a little bit different perspective. A lot of people are like, oh my God, 50 and these different things, or getting older. But for me, when I was young, my grandma and great aunts and grandpa lived to like they're 96, 95. And I remember asking her one time, was like, if you could do anything different, grandma, what would it be? And she goes, not worry about my age. And that
mhm,
always kind of stuck with me. So age has never been like a big weird thing for me. And I was like, wow, I'm going to be 50. How would I like to show up?
mhm,
What do I want to be at in 50? And at that point, I've gained a little bit of weight. I was doing things a little bit differently. I'm not sure I was really super present with my body, or really as present with like what I know is possible.
mhm,
And so it was around September, and I was just like, where I was at that point, I was like, really wasn't working for me. It wasn't where I wanted to be. And so I was like, well, what's possible at 50? We have like 3 months. Let's play. And so that really was the start for me. And here I am in almost April, and I've lost 48-ish pounds. Not 48 pounds was kind of like the beautiful after effect of what really was created. But I just was at a class and many people were like, I didn't even know that was you. You look like a different person.
mhm.
And after I heard that a few times, I was like, I look like a different person. Am I a different person? You know what I mean? Like all these wonderful different things kind of came up with. And so really what I've been playing with is, body show me. So I love the
Cool.
topic. I love bodies. And yeah, so it's kind of the beginning of that for me.
That that's awesome. Thank you. And thank you for touching on aging, because I know a lot of people out there, you myself included, it's like that have started to look at like, I'll talk for myself, like I started to look at myself differently, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Like I had to like create a stop sign and be like, I'm not judging my body, I'm not judging myself on my age. Because I know that judgment just perpetuates whatever you're judging,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So
Yes.
so what was the like what like you mentioned body shaming, but what is body shaming? How did that come to be for you?
Well, So for me, I think it was back in like 2017 or 2016, I actually end up doing a figure competition, which is kind of like a body building. It's not really, well, it's not considered bodybuilding, it's figure. It's, you know, a little bit of weights, a little bit of definition, muscle, and these different things. And so I already knew through that process was the beginning of this, like body show me. So for me, I never went like, hey, I want to be on the stage and do a figure competition. But what I knew is that I wanted to show up differently. So that was the beginning for me of Body Show Me, of being willing to show up in the world, no matter what happened, no matter the judgment I would receive, or no matter, you know, like what I wanted to wear or what I didn't, you know, like all these different things. It was like, I'm going to show up. And that led into this competition for me. And with that figure competition, what I recognize is that your body is so miraculous. Like it is the most miraculous, moldable, changeable, like possibility that you have. You know, I think a lot of people believe they can change the money, they can change the relationship, but I'm not sure if they're always like, well, this is my genetics and this is what I'm stuck with. And so when I first was playing with that, really what came up for me is like, wow, I can create something even beyond my wildest imagination with this body. And it was created. Like I looked better than I ever had. Like I changed structures. And I was like, so wow, that is possible. So once you have the knowing, and I want to say more too, it's the trust. Like a lot of, you know, you can be like, well, I would like to be this. And you ask for it. And then you're like, you know, saying these things that you want to create. But do you actually believe, like, do you actually trust in that would take place? Like if you know, if you apply whatever you're doing and you actually take action to create that, like, is that possible for you? And a lot of people, I don't believe even know that is possible. So for me, Body Show Me was just basically that. I was like, listen, where I'm at right now is not where I would like to be at 50. So first of all, like everything that we've, you know, chosen to create where we're at now, yay, you know, because like you said, judgment creates more judgment. And so it's really easy to dive into like, oh, I don't like the way I look, and look in the mirror and judge you. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing that. But what I am going to do is like, this isn't working. So what else? And that's really what the Body Show Me is, because I know my body is miraculous and can create something beyond what I even can fathom. So Body Show Me is that. Okay, body, what's next? Show me. What is possible for you? Like, what is it like our superpower, right? Like what are we even amazing at that I've never even been willing to acknowledge? And really and then I was like diving into different crazy fun things. And I was listening to this audio book, The Art of Resilience. And it's this amazing man that's in Europe. His name is Ross something. Don't quote me. I'll give you the link after this. But I listened to his audiobook when I was starting to walk or run or exercise to implement different actions that I enjoy. And he's talking about, like, he's woke up and he's like, I'm going to break the world record. And, you know, he ends up swimming around Europe. And in his audible book, The Art of Resilience, he talks about the whole process, like step by step, what took place. And I want to say it almost took him a year. And so not only did he like do that, swim for a year, he talked like 3 or 4 other people like were along with him on this journey. And so for me, I wasn't waking up and saying I'm going to do something like necessarily like that. But what it inspired me to really look at is like, wow, what is possible with my body? Like our bodies are miraculous. What is my superpower? Like, what if I wanted to do something miraculous? Like, is my ask big enough? body, show me what would you like to create? So really listening to him so inspired me, because there's like a couple components I think that happen when we look at, really recreating our body or your life or your relationship or these different things. And there's a few components that, I really worked through after being inspired really with listening to this man's story. And a couple of them basically are like, for me, the way I look at it is like, you have your body has an energy. To me, if you've seen earlier, like on Venus, this little kitty and puppy are in the background. When I tap into my body's like, hi, hello, what's next? What do you want to do? Like it loves to move. And when it moves and, I listen to it, it's like every molecule in that makes up this DNA, like it vibrates. It's like a molecular dance party. It's alive. And then you have the component of your brain, which to me is like an Excel sheet, right? Like the Excel sheets can only do like formulas, and it's like the past equals, the future. And then here you go, here's the formula of like, we did this before and this is what happens. And this is, the new calculation. That's all we can do. And so for me, it's really looking at what is actually possible and what is holding me back. And there's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to do these things. And then I'm like, is that true? Like, what is this? And then I do it. And then my body's like, yes, thank you. Thank you for moving, or thank you for just doing, like, it feels so alive. So I really play with daily and recognize that there's like a lot of different things that are going on. And I play with them.
I love that. Thank you. You said something that I was kind of curious about, because I'm sure there's somebody out there going, okay, what's the difference between this isn't working for me and judging it, like being in judgment of it?
Well, this isn't working for me. For me, have like the different space. There's a different energy to me. Well, have you guys ever heard of like do an Excel sheet of your living? Right? Like you write down what your finances are, like what you're bringing in and what you're spending.
Yep.
There comes a time where, you can close your eyes and hope and wish and dream that you're making enough, you're grossing, you have profit. But until you look at it, when you look at it, then you're like, oh, sometimes you're doing better than you thought, and sometimes you're not. Right. And so for me, it's more of just looking at what is. What is going on here? Right. Is this working? If it's not working, what else can I change? What can we, what can we do here? So for me, that's basically like what took place of like, all right, now a lot of people might agree with this, they don't agree with this. I got on the scale, in my head. And, I was always like, well, I'm fine. It's this and that. And then, I got on the scale and I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. And not from the place of like, judgment, but like I had to really get present with what was. And so the acknowledgement, if you're not willing to get present with you and your body and like what is, how are you able then to change it? You can't. It's just the place of judgment.
Right.
So
that's great.
Yeah. And when you're acknowledging, for me, like there's a place of acknowledgement is like the rocket fuel to ask and receive. Because when you're willing to acknowledge something, it's already, it's already in the space of, all right, what's next? Body, show me. Like what else can we choose here?
Yeah, if you don't, and I think you might have just said this in a different way, but if you don't acknowledge something, you cannot change it. So you have to, like you have to actually have the acknowledgement of it. I love that. We actually have a question here. Cool. How do I become better friends with my body? Sometimes I ask and don't get an answer or don't know how to recognize it.
No, that's a great question. And if you remember earlier, I was saying like there's this presence with the energy of your body. And then you have your brain. right? That's, will tell you, don't do that, you'll get hurt, or like, we can't do those things, or, hey, I'm hungry, everybody's hungry, we're starving. And what I really did is took time. One, I set an alarm on my phone. I still actually have it every day that went off at 2 o'clock. And it's like, what is my reality with my body? What is it? So once again, like, how do you hear it? How do you become, present with your body? How do you become best friends with it? Well, like anything else, you take action and you take steps to nurture it. And after, I want to say after about a couple weeks of really, really just getting present with what I was doing, asking those questions of like, what is my reality with my body? And then of course, always like, body show me. So I was always asking for my body to show me what it wanted to create. Like, have you ever asked your body like what size it wanted to be? And then sometimes an energy comes up. Sometimes it's, it'd be different for everybody. But the more I acknowledged my body, the louder the presence was in my life. The louder the presence was. So I'm not really sure if that helped.
Yeah.
But
I think that's great. Yeah, it's just the willingness to ask the question. Sometimes my experience too is sometimes you might ask a question for years and then finally get an awareness. So sometimes some things take time. Like you might get something instantly, you might get an energy, but the more you ask, the more, you will have more awareness. And I love what you ask every day is like, what is my reality with my body? Well, asking that every day, it changes every day too, right?
every day. Yeah. And the acknowledgement piece of like, have you ever had someone that you looked at them and then you're like, hey, hi, you got really present with them. And when you're that present with your body's like, oh, you're talking to me, wow. And there's other couple pieces too, like questions that I would ask quite frequently is like, how do you want to communicate, body? Look, one, I used to like get very like in my stomach. I knew a lot, like when my body was trying to like let me be aware of an energy or a possibility. I would have like a nervous stomach, or like it's hard to explain, but I hold more in my stomach, and I was like, hey, body, how can we communicate differently? Like I don't always need to be sick to my stomach, or I don't always need to have this anxiety. When you want me to be aware of something, how can we do it differently? Can it be an energy? Can it be outside? Can you, just give me information? So I think that's like a personal, journey that everybody can have with their own self and play with.
Yeah, and thank you for that. That's a great point too. Like if the way that your body's communicating to you isn't working for you, ask for it to communicate to you in a different way. Yeah, I mean, you could do that with a friend, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
we're not really connecting, or not, I can't really understand you. Can we try talking a different way? It's the same thing. It's like, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And I actually, I just listened to Oprah Winfrey. She was on this audio and it was amazing. This person was interviewing her and they're like, listen, you've talked to probably the top main people in the world that were successful. What was the one thing that you noticed they all had in common? And Oprah was like, and I was like, ooh, that is true. She's like interviewed everybody. And you know what? The main thing that she said was they all knew where they were going. They all knew what they were wanting. They all knew what they were asking for. So, my question for you is if you're looking at, this relationship with your body or your business or, anything else, what are you asking for? What would you like to create? And are you, like, is that your target? Are you focused? And is it even yours? Right? Like, so for me with Body Show Me, I was like, listen, I'm getting super present with me, what I know is possible, and what I'd like to create. And to do that every day, I don't know if in the US had the commercial a long time ago, Office Max had this little red button, and like you'd see, and they're like, press the button, and like this big, reset button. Yeah. And I was like, I'm hitting the reset button every day. And I actually still do it every day. Reset button. Everything that I've decided, everything today is new and possible. Like I'm resetting this body. Whatever it's bought from anybody else, whatever it's bought from my parents, genetics, the outside world, anything like that. I know something is different and possible for me. Like what Oprah was saying, like, I know my body is miraculous. Our bodies heal, you cut yourself like instantly, like it already starts the process to take care of itself. And, sometimes some of us can become disconnected because we look at other outside sources and it's, to take care of us. But like our body's like, hey, I'm here. I'm miraculous. I have superpowers. What can we create today? And even if you play with a little bit of that, like, hit that reset energetic button. Everything that you've decided, everything that you've chosen before, even if it was amazing, like what is now possible for you today? And, invite your body, invite everyone around you, just really to the party of possibilities with your body. What is that for you? Can it be fun? And if it's not, look at it. Like what we said earlier, really make a list. What's what's working and what's not. Mostly from that sense of like, what is working, what is not. And then, be like, okay, cool. You don't have to do anything. Just like, body, show me what's next. Now, I also talked about some fun things like that too, like the energetics and the questions and stuff I asked, but I also implemented action. I move. My body loves to move. Now I love to run. I love to actually, work out. But what is fun for you? Because a lot of people are like, I don't want to go to the gym. And I'm like, I love the gym. I'm like, yay. So find something that is your yay. Because taking care of yourself and your body shouldn't be like, I'm a jerk. I should be going to the gym and I'm not.
Right.
So what is your
So to speak to that, just in case, whatever it is for you guys, because I love to trail run, and people are like, "Wow, that's really hard." I'm like, "No, I hike up and I run downhill. Like that's fucking fun for me."
Yeah,
right?
It's like like this doesn't have to be hard work. What?
Right?
Because you're not going to want to do hard work if you're a puppy and you're playing. I watched my dog one time go from like 0 walking to like 100 miles an hour. And I was like, wow, that was fascinating. Because you know what? He wasn't like, oh, I can't run too fast because I'm going to fall and fall on my face. Or he wasn't like, oh, I'm going to throw a hip out. He was just like, bam, I'm gone. And, how much before we even take like that wondrous movement or action, we're like, I can't do that because of this injury, or wow, I don't want to do this. Who knows what happens in your head. But I was like, wow, like animals are just amazing in what's possible, what, they can do with their bodies. And I was like, I'll have that.
That's awesome. And that's great. And guys, if you're out there right now watching and going, yeah, that couldn't be for me, you can do what Becky just did for her dog. She was like, I'll have that. You can do that with Becky. You can be like, I'll have that. Because when I saw her on stage at that class she was just talking about, I was like, I'll have that. So
yeah, you can have it too. And I've talked to a few people about that. It's like what works for me is different than what works for you because it's me. We're like, that's your superpower. Like you are the superpower. Nobody is you. And how would you like to show up in the world? If you want to talk about business, it's like, this is your product. This is your package. What is it saying? Like, how are you presenting it to the world? What would you, how would you want to show up? And that'll look different for everybody. I love to be outrageous and shocking sometimes. Sometimes I look like a saint. Sometimes I look like a whore, No, just kidding. Well, maybe not.
No.
But you really can, be everything and all spectrums at any time.
Yeah. And I love how you said that, because you can also do this for what your body wants to wear, what your body wants to eat. Like, have your body show you everything, not just movement, but like what sheets does it want to sleep in? Like, everything you can ask. And I wonder what that would change in your life.
Yeah.
Well, thank
I'm
you
like,
so
body,
much
can
for
you
this,
make me
Becky.
some money? You can ask that
Yeah,
too. I'm
right?
like, body, hello, can you make me some money, please? Thank
I
you.
love that. Yeah, and so Becky, where can people find you? What do you have? I think you had some free offerings kind of for Body Show Me Facebook
Yeah.
group. Yeah.
Yes, I do. You can find everything on my website, which is becky-vaness.com. Everything's on there. I even have a body show me. There's like some free stuff. There's some groups to come in and play. None of this is any structured because it's all an adventure. Everything that it's the adventure of living. It's the adventure of your life, of your body. But there's lots of things on there to play with.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you, Becky, so very much. We will post your link in the comments, and just thank you for the inspiration you be, and for you being you is such a gift in this world, and I am so grateful for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.